Hi folks, how are you doing? To start with the 8th round in the Tata Steel Chess tournament, we had a very fast and interesting game between Vasily Ivanchuk with white pieces and Wesley-So with black pieces. Fortunately, it was not a GM draw, very fast and dry, but it was a decisive result and with some very interesting attacking ideas. Really delicious game to watch. Let's see if you like it. We had a Ruy Lopez as an opening. Remember, Ivanchuk is white here, Wesley-So black, and we reached a very classical close Ruy Lopez. Knight f6, white castles, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, bishop b3. Here black has two main choices, to play d6 or castle, which is what Wesley-So plays, showing more or less his intentions to play, if allowed, the martial counter gambit, the martial, which would be the pure martial would be after c3, normal move in this case, and d5 would be the martial counter gambit. He takes, knight takes, and black gives up the e5 pawn to have a very active position. This is of course a very sound and solid line for black, used by tons of super GMs. It is very notorious that Kasparov almost never allowed this to be played against him. So there are a couple of possibilities here to play against this d5, and h3 is one of these anti-martials. a4 is the other popular possibility there. Now black plays bishop b7, developing a piece. d3 is played, and once again here d6 is very popular according to the database. Very solid line, it seems, very slow positional, I guess. But Wesley-So goes more aggressive. He plays d5 anyway. He takes, knight takes. White could take the e5 pawn right away, but after this black has, for instance, this knight d4 move possibility. Now black is really threatening to put the bishop on d6, and now that the knight is protected with the bishop and having, well, the bishop pair here against eyeing here the white king side, it's really tempting with lots of compensation. The other move white has is what Ivanchuk plays here, knight bd2, developing the knight to d2, queen d7, and it is now when Wesley-So takes the pawn on e5, rook takes. There's an interesting story about here this position. After the press conference, after the game, in the press conference, Wesley-So apparently told the journalists that Levon Aronian, the Armenian GM, had told him that he had fired some of his seconds for not finding the following strong move for black in this position, and a move that Wesley-So did play in this game. So it seems he had done his job, Wesley-So, in this game. Knight f4 is the move I'm talking about, attacking g2 with two pieces, as you can see. And yes, that's what Wesley-So told in the press conference, that Aronian apparently had sacked some of his part of his team or whatever for not finding this move, this knight f4 move in this position. Well, why was Aronian talking like this? What game was he referring to? Well, there is a kind of a famous game, you can see here on the link on the board. Aronian lost against Anand last year in the candidates. In fact, that was a very interesting game, which Anand won with white pieces in the first round of the candidates, as I said, in Khanty-Mansiysk in Russia, which finally gave him the chance to play a rematch against Magnus Carlsen in Sochi. You know that story. So that first round game between Anand and Aronian was, they reached this position, and Aronian there played knight f6, and later Anand went on to win that game in nice style. Well, knight f4 is the move that Aronian didn't play there, and Wesley did find here. Well, I'm sure he has done lots of homework. Wesley-So very well prepared in the openings, and we're gonna see he's going to come up with some nice home preparation here. How do we deal with this double attack against g2? Well, knight f3 seems very logical. It is, in fact. The knight is under attack now on f4, but Wesley-So anyway sacrifices on g2. Very nice home preparation by the now American GM of fully Philippine origin. King takes g2, and well, how do you get here compensation for the piece? The first move is very subtle and very useful, very nice move. a5, not easy to see at the first sight, but actually this bishop is not very well placed right now here. a4 is a threat, winning the piece. Apart from that, this a6 also, well, black has the extra idea of a rook lift through the 6th rank to go to the king side and attack this king, which is the center of the game right now, the very important weakness for black, this white king. So white must deal with these threats, double threats somehow. It is not an easy position, by the way. If you think about it for a moment, it's not that easy for play here for white. Even if you're a piece up, there is the threat of taking the piece back. There is these strong threats against your queen. The bishop on b7 is a monster. The knight is pinned. This is not pleasant to play with white. What did Ivanchuk did here? Well, he just decides to give some material back to try to slow down the attack. And now he plays c3 to have the c2 square for his bishop. Rook is coming anyway, rook a6, and look at these 3 very active pieces. The queen is very well placed. The bishop is completely a monster here on b7, pinning this knight, attacking on the great diagonal, and the rook is going to join the party very soon. d4 was played. Well, white has the idea of pushing this pawn to d5 and kind of cut the communication, the power of this bishop, which is not bad. And here Ruy-Lopez plays rook to f6. Well, I don't know, at the first sight my engine says rook g6 check is stronger, not that easy to find here what's going on. Apparently after king f1, queen d7, attacking h3, it seems, with a very dangerous check. White has knight g5, but after h6 all white has, it seems, is queen g4, and after which black takes the knight on g5, with a very good position, it seems. I mean, up the exchange. I don't know if this is completely true, and I haven't looked at this very deeply, but yeah, seems a very difficult position to play for white. Well, rook f6 was played first. Now d5 is played. Seems natural. It's defended the pawn, and well, which is very important, it's limiting the power of the bishop on b7, or trying to at least. a4, bishop c2, and black activates the last piece he had, the rook on f8 to d8 with a tempi, threatening to win that pawn. Queen e1, at least Ivanchuk tries to exchange queens, but when you're down a piece, you have sacrificed material to attack, you don't want to exchange queens, right? So queen d7, keeping the powerful queen on the board. Knight g5 was played here by Ivanchuk. I mean, what to suggest here, I don't know. Surely seems a difficult position with your king that airy here and in the middle of the board. Well, not in the middle, I mean, but having this rook here, the bishop threatening in the diagonal, all these active black pieces, and the king in the middle of the storm. It's not easy to suggest good moves here, I guess. Knight g5 was played. Okay, you're attacking a7, a6, and the maneuver Ivanchuk had in mind was to go with the knight to e4 right now. But unfortunately for Chucky, this maneuver is losing the game very quickly, and we're gonna see this very soon. How does black do the job here? Well, first a check on g6, king h2, now f5, driving away that knight, centralized knight, which goes to g3, and now queen takes d5. How about this threat of checkmate on g2? How about the control of the big light square diagonal here? These couple of pieces are really very well coordinated, and this king is really feeling miserable here right now. How do you stop checkmate? Well, only one move, couple of moves maybe. Stop checkmating one, but they're not going to save the day either for Ivanchuk. Queen g1, and here, well, the winning move is not actually that easy to see, but you can treat this as a tactics trainer. How does black put the last nail on the coffin? It's a kind of a slow move, but a nice one. Queen to f3, and white just resigned. Ivanchuk resigned here after with white pieces after just 26 moves. Quite a miniature here. What can white do here? Well, bishop e3 seems kind of a logical move to develop pieces, to hold f2, but here it comes the main point of queen f3. Bank, queen sacrifice taking on e3, and if white is to take it back, well, the other rook joins the party with deadly effects. Rook d2 check, the queen is lost, and there is checkmate following very soon, or at least white is losing all the material in the world after queen f2, etc. And otherwise, well, what if we don't want to give black the opportunity to sacrifice the queen? Well, if we just sit there and pass the move like we're playing a3, black has the extra threat of playing rook takes g3, threatening h3 with a checkmate, and either capture here on g3 is losing for white. If white takes with the pawn, queen e2 check, where is the king going? Nowhere. Queen f2 or queen g2 and mate. And well, of course, easier if white takes with the queen. Well, there is checkmate in one on h1. Nice diagonal. So there it goes. After queen f3, Vasily Ivanchuk, the leader of the tournament so far, resigned the game against Wesley-So, who is having certainly a very good tournament. I told it, beware of Wesley-So, providing us with a nice game in this 8th round, which is still going on. Thanks for watching.